We're on our way to capture some evening images of Bamburgh Castle, and I want to talk about picture styles. Why not come with me? Well, good evening, and this time you find me out on the Northumberland coast, and I've parked the van with the roof tent, and the roof tent is set up in a small, I suppose, don't know whether you call it a campsite or a camping field. Basically the owner of the field allows people with camper vans and tents to stop there, but there is virtually no facilities. I think there is water and there is somewhere where you can empty your toilets, but that's about it. So I'm going to stay there tonight. So the idea is at the moment actually walking in towards Bambrugh, and the idea is to get some evening images of the castle. Now, whether we'll get any colour or not, I don't know. Time will tell on that one. But yeah, we'll just wait and see. So, but the other thing I want to talk about on this video is what Canon calls picture styles. And on my 5D Mark IV, there are various picture styles. There is landscape, portrait, neutral, etc. So what I want to do is work out what effect they have, given that I shoot in RAW, given that I come out with RAW files rather than JPEG files. My understanding is that the picture styles affect the JPEGs that are produced, but not really the RAW files. So we're going to do various experiments and see what the consequences are, or what happens. I think there's two real experiments I want to do, and I'm doing this having heard on a couple of videos people talk about these, so I thought I'd do some experimentation to see how it all works out. So yeah, so what's the two things I'm going to do? Well, first of all, I'm going to come up with a composition, and then the idea will be to capture that, set up the camera, possibly, I normally have it in landscape mode or landscape style. So the idea is we'll set up the image in that, we'll capture the image, and then we'll change the styles, but we're not going to change any other setting, just change the styles and see what effect that has. It will be interesting to see whether the basic RAW file is any different or whether it's basically the same, because when I import the images into Lightroom, it applies a preset, what Lightroom calls a preset, and it's meant to mirror what the camera does. So if I've shot it in picture style landscape, it will apply a camera landscape preset or whatever. So I want to see if I remove the presets and just go back to the basic RAW, whether there's any difference. So that's one experiment I want to do. And then the other experiment is to pick a style Again, come up with a similar composition, but then choose the style, set the camera using the histogram, etc., given what style we've got punched in, and then do that with various picture styles. But within each one, once I've picked the style, to go and do the settings again, rather than the first time is just to literally leave all the settings the same except for the picture style. But the second one will to be choose a picture style and then set the shutter speed, aperture, etc., and see what difference we come up with in that case. So there'll be the bit in the field, as it were, tonight, and then there will be more reviewing the images, etc., on the computer once I'm back home. So that's the whole point of tonight. We'll see how it goes, and anyway, whatever happens, we'll see you a little bit later. Right, we'll come to the beach now, and we've taken our first set of images, and as I said, I normally do it on picture style landscape, which I set up the composition and took the images on that, and then I've taken it at various other picture styles, and then we'll back on the computer we will see what's what. So after this there'll probably be a voiceover bit of that, and you can see the composition there. I mean, you can see there's the camera. We've got a bit of what do you call it, pool seat, I can't remember what they call them now, where you get the water left, rock pools. There's a bit of a rock pool there with some reflection, and there we've got the castle in the background. But I just want to point out a few things to you. So we'll zoom into the castle. So that's Bamburgh Castle. I did see, looking back, way back the other way, you could just, and I think it was Dunstanburgh Castle you could see, but anyway, but that's Bamburgh Castle. And if we look round out to sea, we get the Farne Islands. Now there are various buildings. It looks as though on that one, I'll maybe try and point out, there's a bit of a castle, there's various lighthouses. But the Farne Isles are particularly renowned for the bird colonies, in particular the puffins. I'm not quite sure whether it's the right time of year for puffins at the moment. Possibly is, maybe a little bit too late, I don't know. But and then as you come around here, you'll see there's a lighthouse, and you can see that's the direction the sun's going to set in. And I'm hoping, although we've got a hefty bank of cloud, that as the sun dips down below that, we might get some light on the castle. And just walking out here, you could see it as we're walking up. I can maybe, if it was on the, I think we maybe, yeah, if we look out there, and I'll maybe point it out on the video, that is Lindisfarne Castle, or the castle on Holy Island, and that is where we're going to go tomorrow. For those that don't know, Holy Island is an island when the tide's in. When the tide goes out, there is a causeway, so you can get there. And tomorrow, I've checked this out, you can get across from somewhere between 8 and 9 o'clock in the morning till about just gone 2. So the idea is to get up relatively early and aim to get there, to get across onto the island as soon as possible, park up, and then have a wander around the island with the aim of getting back across before the causeway gets shut by the tide coming in. And then tomorrow we've got our monthly meeting in Gateshead. So that's why I've come here. So tomorrow, after we've come off Holy Island, we'll head towards Gateshead. The meeting, as I say, we've got to be off by some time just after 2 o'clock, and the meeting's not till 7:30. So that's the idea. And then on tomorrow night as well, from Gateshead we'll start to head home, but maybe towards Teesdale and find somewhere to stop overnight in the roof tent again, and then do some photography on Sunday before heading back Sunday night. So that's the plans over the next few days. So what we're going to do, we'll probably put these images up, talk through them on the computer, and then I'll maybe just wait till the sun comes down a little bit. I'll take some more images where I choose a picture style and then do the settings to what I think suits that. So I mean, it may have very little effect, I don't know, but the implication of what some people have said is, and it maybe varies from camera to camera, that it's something you need to bear in mind, but we'll see. So as I say, we've taken about 4 or 5 images, and we'll just bring them up on the computer now, and we'll compare them, and whichever is the best will show that before we come back to life here and now in Bambrugh. So we'll see you a little bit later. Right, well here we have 3 of the images that I've just taken, or had just taken at the time, and this is literally how they've come into Lightroom. And you can see here the slightly different. This one is packs a bit more punch, a bit more saturated, and these two are much flatter. But if we go on to this one, we'll go in the develop mode rather than just the loop mode. we can see, yeah, there's a bit of punch, and this was camera landscape. And if we move to the next one, which becomes, as I say, flatter, and the histogram up at the top does change, if you can see that. And this is at camera standard. And then if we go again, we go into camera neutral, and it goes slightly flatter, and the histogram does change a bit. But right, I've now in effect stripped out all the presets or the camera styles or whatever, and basically got them back to the raw, which is making them camera neutral. And you look here and they all look the same. If we go into looking at them individually, we can see that if we scroll through them, there is no real change to the colour, the flatness, etc. So what this shows to me is that the camera style, or picture style should I say, on the Canon camera, choosing that if you've got a given settings makes no difference at all to the raw file. You can strip all the presets out, go back to the raw, and they are basically identical. What it does do, if you shoot in JPEG, it will bake the things into JPEG like the camera. I mean, if we go on to this one, if we were to, if I put it back to the camera landscape, that's what we would see in the JPEG. So if we're doing JPEGs, and that's what you see on the back of the screen on the Canon, it bakes in the camera picture style, should I say, into the JPEG that it shows on the back of the camera. But it makes no difference at all to the raw. So what we'll do now is we'll stop here, and then we'll show one of these fully edited, because I haven't actually edited these, and we'll show that, and then we'll carry on, and we'll see you a little bit later. Right, well, we're getting some reasonable light, and we have got quite a few images. I did at one point take a number of images with different picture styles, but I was finding that I didn't really need to alter the settings on the camera. But we'll see how they come out on the computer. But what I have done, and I've zoomed in. You can see it's gone a bit, but there's quite a bit of light on the finals there. So I did capture an image with the long lens, so that, and yeah, I'm going to hang around a little bit more. We're still getting, you can still see this, we're still getting a bit of light there. So we'll just hang around, see what we can get. I'll do a voiceover about comparing the images with the different picture styles, and the best images with the best light we'll put up, and whatever happens we'll see you a little bit later. Right, again here we have the three images that you've just seen me take on the video. One problem I was having at the time, and you can see this, was the shadow of the tripod. I've got normally have a 2-second delay, so I was setting it going and minding out the way, otherwise you'd have seen my shadow next to the tripod. It is something that I can get rid of in post. But again, you can see here, this is how they came into Lightroom. The one on the left is in camera landscape. The one in the middle is in camera monochrome, and the one at the end is in camera standard. So if we just look at those, obviously there is considerable change. Obviously the landscape is slightly more punchy, the monochrome is obviously monochrome, and the standard is, yeah, it's flatter than the landscape one. So having made them all camera neutral, again, you can see that basically they are identical. If we just bring that up, that was the first one, and there was a slight change to the second one. You can see there that's a 15th of a second, and whether it was the light that changed or using the different camera or picture style meant the histogram was slightly different. I did change it, and it's a 13th of a second in the second two, but I mean the second two, again, that is darker, but basically there's very little difference between the three images when they're all in camera neutral. So again, picking the picture style and then doing the settings doesn't, in a sense, doesn't really make any difference as far as I can see. Now, I have said this before and I'll say it again, this is on a Canon camera and it's a 5D Mark IV, as you can see up the top there. Now, whether picture styles on other cameras have more effect on histograms and that when you're taking them, I don't know. But on the Canon, as far as I can see, there is absolutely no difference whatsoever. I mean, if we go back into the import with the camera styles and we're looking at the histogram does move, but there's no significant change as far as I can see. So yeah, so in a sense, it is the picture styles are useful for the back of the camera to be able to see what you're sort of going to get with that picture style, but they have no effect on the raw file, not in terms of Canon. When you bring them into Lightroom, it applies the equivalent picture style, so if you pick a monochrome, it will appear monochrome, but you can go back to the raw and do whatever you want. So they have their uses, but they don't affect really, as far as I can see on the Canon, the raw. So we'll put up one of these images that has been fully edited, and then we'll carry on with the rest of the video. Right, well, I'd packed up and started to walk away. I'm just talking to somebody, and I don't know whether you can see here, the colour has just come out, or came out. It's starting to fade a bit, so came back down onto the beach, captured some more images, which I'll put up after this. So yeah, and you can see the colour. It's absolutely stunning, absolutely stunning. I might just try at quite a wide angle, a long exposure, see what we get. And the best of the images we'll put up, and we'll see you a little bit later. Right, we've left the beach now and we're heading along the road to go back to the van. So I thought I'd do this piece straight away rather than waiting till I got further round, as the light is starting to go quite a bit now. So yeah, it's been a brilliant evening, brilliant. I think the bit about the picture styles, I think it's going to, I mean, you'll have probably heard the voiceover, but the feeling I get is it's going to be fairly inconclusive, that it doesn't make an awful lot of difference. Obviously it affects the look of the image in Lightroom, because I've got it set so it mirrors that. But I've a feeling if I take the styles off and put them all to neutral or whatever, they're all going to look the same. And when I was choosing a style and then capturing the images, there was I wasn't really changing everything, I was still leaving it the same. So anyway, I've learnt something. It's always useful to know. But yeah, the colour and that, the last image I took, I'm not quite sure how it'll have come out. There was still a bit of colour in the sky, and I thought I'd been taking some long exposures at I'd got to 30 seconds, but I thought I'd take a really long one, so it ended up being 8.5 minutes. But the only problem was, by the time there was quite a bit of colour when I first started it. By the time it finished, all the colour had gone, so I'm not quite sure what that's going to look like, but it might look quite moody, so that might be good. And that, so, and as I was starting to finish off, there's two gentlemen came up to me and said, "You're on YouTube, aren't you? Is it Kessie Climby?" So it is. So it would appear that I've hit fame at last, so to speak. But anyway, yeah, so, and as I've mentioned earlier on in the video, tomorrow I'm heading out to Holy Island, which, if I turn round, I don't know whether you'll be able to see it behind me there. It's probably a bit blown out because that's where the sun's still quite bright. So, but yeah, that's tomorrow. So yeah, just to say, if you've enjoyed the video, and if you haven't already done so, please click the thumbs up. If you like what I'm doing, please subscribe. It does the channel great in the algorithm, etc. And yeah, the other thing that I really do appreciate and is really, really useful is comments. So if there's anything, whether you've enjoyed it, not enjoyed it, whatever, please do comment, because that is much, much appreciated. So yeah, we're going to head back to the van. I've already set the roof tent up, so I'd put the ladder away, but get the ladder out. I have got some liquid refreshment, which I may have one of, because as we came through Bambrugh, I thought, well, we've still got a while till sunset, so I did have a drink in the town before I went to the thing. But no, it's good to get out and get a sunset that actually works. So often recently I've been to various places and for sunsets, and it just hasn't worked like the one at Warnscale Bothy. But anyway, that's besides the point. So yeah, I've probably waffled on enough there, so we'll see you on the next video.